Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at Streets of Rage 4 for the PC. The game was developed by .mu, Guard Crush Games and Lizard Cube, and was published by .mu and Eureka Studios. The game is a brand new chapter in the franchise that is the Streets of Rage saga. However, after all these many years of being abandoned by Sega, only to be picked up by these brand new developers and publishers, is it as good as we all know and remember it being? Let's take a closer look at the review. The game's story follows the originals in that a criminal organisation has risen up and has taken control of the city, and now it's up to the gang to reunite and take down this criminal organisation, which is led by the Y-Twins. That's essentially the game's plot in a nutshell, and in all honesty, I really wasn't expecting it to be anything that much different. The fact is that it's worked in all the other past previous Streets of Rage games, so I really didn't expect it to be that different in this one. The characters I'm going to break down into 3 sections. The first part, I'm going to mention Cherry and the guy who looks like a knockoff version of Jax from Mortal Kombat. I will simply just say that they are there. They're okay, but honestly, I'm not too fond of them, and really, I think I would have preferred more classic characters back instead of these two. The next part is the original cast, comprising of Adam, Axel and Blaze. I'm really happy to see these 3 return, as they were the original trio from the very first game, and it's great to see these 3 back in action again. However, I do kind of have mixed feelings about them and how they've been portrayed in this game. Axel looks oddly like some type of angry homeless hobo, and that just seems a bit odd. Adam looks as if he's buffed up a fair bit, but now looks as if he owns some type of jazz club, which again just seems a bit odd. And Blaze looks oddly younger and appears to have gotten curvier in a few places. So whilst it is fantastic to see these 3 back in action again, it does feel slightly bittersweet, because none of these 3 come across as how I would expect them to be after all this time apart. The final part is the Classics Retro Mode representations. Now this is truly something I am genuinely surprised that the developers included within this game, and I applaud them for doing so, and thank them from the very bottom of my heart for adding in this feature. The retro mode consists of past presentations of the characters being included within this game. So for example, if you play as Blaze, if you do access retro mode and once you've unlocked them, you have the option to play as her in a Streets of Rage 1 representation, or if you're not a fan of that, you can play as her as how she looked in Streets of Rage 2 or in Streets of Rage 3. You can do this with other characters as well, but it's not just different appearances which have been included, but also different characters too. So if you do play in retro mode, you can also play as Zan, Shiva, Skates, or various other characters if you unlock them. So when you take everything into account with this game, there really is something for everyone here with its characters. When it comes to the gameplay for Streets of Rage 4, you're expecting this to be the traditional side-scrolling beat-em-up, where either you and your friend work together to beat up a bunch of bad guys, and move from location to location, fighting baddies and bosses, whilst using special moves, throws, weapons and combos. Well, all that is indeed here, and looks and feels just like what you're expecting it to be like. However, the gameplay itself, I do feel might be met with mixed feelings. I was expecting this to play like Streets of Rage 3, but strangely in this 4th title, it feels a lot more like Streets of Rage 2, and it's an odd case of 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I really do not understand why the running feature or the rolling feature are not here within this game. It just doesn't make any sense why these 2 abilities and why certain moves appear to have just completely vanished in this 4th outing. So to some players out there who may be playing this game for the very first time, and for fans of the original Streets of Rage saga, this might come as a bit of a shock, as it almost comes across as if combat has taken a slight downgrade for this new adventure, and I'm not sure why these moves or abilities are not present here within the 4th game. The game's graphics, I feel this may possibly be a breaking point which possibly might divide some people out there if they're going to buy this game or not. With this aspect of the game, the developers took a slightly different look than that of the original's gritty design, look and feel from the 16-bit era. I'm going to be upfront about it, I have very mixed feelings with them. To me, it almost feels and looks as if this game is something that I would expect to have downloaded off the Google Play Store or somewhere similar. It almost looks as if the game has been designed in this way so that it can easily be ported to mobile phones or Android devices, and in doing so has limited itself to how it could possibly have been or looked. I do think that the game's graphics are nice, and I think that the animations are brilliantly well created and put together. But to me, the game's graphics almost come across as just a little bit too cartoonish. The environments for Streets of Rage 4 are nothing short of incredible. I really do mean this. They are exceptionally well put together, with so much depth and detail added to them, that it really is hard to express in words just how much time and dedication have clearly been spent on them. They're not just bland locations with no heart or soul, but instead something that you can instantly see has had a lot of time and thought put into each area that you'll travel to. Locations such as the city streets aren't just pathways with the same animations reused over and over again, but instead they have so much detail in them that you almost want to pause for a bit and just take in the amount of detail that's been added into all these locations. Now we come to the all-important questions. Is Streets of Rage 4 as good as the originals? And is it a true continuation of the franchise? And is it everything that fans have been patiently expecting after all these years of being neglected by Sega? At this point, I'm going to play devil's advocate a bit. Because if you are indeed a gamer such as myself who grew up with a Sega Mega Drive, then you will have played the original games back in the day, and because the franchise has been ignored for so long, I'm going to assume that much like myself, fans have also looked into unofficial versions or substitutes. So if you have looked and played Streets of Rage Remake by Bomber Games, or played The Takeover by Pelican 13, or possibly played Fight and Rage, then you're also going to be judging Streets of Rage 4 on those games as well as the originals. So with all this in mind, is Streets of Rage 4 worth it? And is it really everything fans have been expecting and hoping it to be like after all these years? I would have to say that Streets of Rage 4 is absolutely brilliant. And in all honesty, while I have a few complaints, the few complaints that I do have are far outweighed by all the great and positive things that this game does and has to offer. It's got the amazing music that we all know comes with the Streets of Rage games. It's got the fun and enjoyable gameplay that we come to expect from a Streets of Rage game. And it's got that something special about it that no matter how many times you complete it, you always keep coming back to it time and time again. And if you're playing with a friend, even more so. Well, that's it for this review, guys. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and please subscribe.